Hi, my name is David Blakesley, and I'm here to tell you about a project I've been working on since 2009 called Criterion Reflections. This is an introduction to Season 5 of my project, which has been a podcast since the year 2017 and is now switching over to kind of a short form video format, although podcasting will continue to be part of what I offer here. And I'll say a little bit more about that, but let me just kind of introduce and explain what it is I've been doing and what I plan to do in the months and years ahead. So in 2009, like I said, I started a blog called Criterion Reflections, and the concept behind that blog was I would review every film in the Criterion collection in the chronological order in which it was originally released. And that turned into a pretty satisfying hobby of mine, I guess you could say. I've never been paid for this. I've gotten a few review copies here and there, but it's really just been a labor of love and also an effort for me to kind of just document my impressions of these great films that I've been watching since, the early 2000s when I first became aware of the Criterion Collection and decided I really wanted to kind of invest a fair amount of my time into understanding cinema, the history, the art form, the personalities, and creators behind it all. And that's introduced me to a great community of people online, as well as even some local friends through like the Film Society that I'm a part of here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Anyways, I've been basically pounding away at this for quite a few years. In 2017, that blog, which I had kind of been maintaining over all that time, turned into a podcast, and those podcast episodes are published through a website called CriterionCast.com, where I've been contributing to that site since around 2010. In 2017, I started with the year 1969 in the podcast, and I just recently finished up season 4, which covered the year 1972. So now with season 5, 1973, I'm going to move over to maybe a short form video format where I'm going to be able to maybe pick up the pace a little bit, do mostly personal solo reviews of the films, whereas the podcast has always been kind of a collective effort. I've always recruited different people, friends of mine, people I've met online, who have a particular interest in the film that's being discussed. I'm going to be able to move things a little bit more quickly by just doing the reviews myself, but I will be doing the podcast along with the video reviews. If there's a film that I want to dig deeper into, it's a major title, or I know that there's friends of mine who want to get together and have an extended conversation with me, I will keep doing that. But for a lot of the films, they might be something I can review in 5 or 10 minutes, give a quick impression, and maybe stoke your curiosity if you haven't seen it before, or maybe give you something to think about if you have seen it before. But I want to just kind of pick up the pace a little bit because it took me about 2.5 years to get through 1972, and I don't really want to linger that long, just because of the sake of scheduling and some of the other obstacles that have made it harder for me to do this any more quickly than I already have. So what I want to do for the rest of this introductory video is just kind of give you a sample of what I'll be talking about in this season 5 of Criterion Reflections. These are all films that I own on disc, but this season will also include films that are only available on the Criterion Channel streaming service. And so, there's more that I'll be discussing here besides what I'm about to show you. But these are the products, the physical home media that I have in hand and can show you right now. So the first one I'm going to do is called The Age of the Medici. This is a Roberto Rossellini film about the Renaissance, part of the Eclipse series set. And I will also say, anything that has to do with Criterion, if it's been on the channel, if it's been in the Eclipse series, Essential Art House, the new Janus Contemporaries line, of course, those are all brand new movies, so it's going to be a long time before I get to 2022 to talk about any of those. But anyways, anything that's Criterion related is up for discussion here. So here's one that was on the streaming channel, Criterion channel, for a while, but it's no longer there. Luchino Visconti's Ludwig. I have this beautiful box set, pretty impressive big document there, so I'll be talking about that, and I will be doing a podcast about that one for sure. Jimmy Cliff in The Harder They Come, an old school Criterion DVD. Here's another one from the Eclipse series, Come On Children. This is kind of the birth of reality TV in some ways, and even though he's not really celebrated as such, Alex Lifeson, the future guitarist of Rush as a teenager, is in this movie about a bunch of young Canadian people who live in a house during the winter, kind of a communal setting, and they put on the cameras to see what'll happen. It's a very interesting piece of work. I'm going to be showing a film called Shall We Go to Shall We Go to My or Your Place or Each Go Home Alone? This is a 52-minute film by Lasse Hallström. It's included as a supplement on the My Life as a Dog disc, so I'll be talking about that. So yes, I even cover the supplemental bonus features on these discs if they were released in 1973. Ingmar Bergman's Scenes from a Marriage. This is the old big brick 3-disc DVD edition. Of course, I have it on Blu-ray, the big Ingmar Bergman box set as well. This is Visions of 8. 8 different directors recruited to film segments of the 1972 Olympics. A very interesting document just because of the stuff that happened during that Olympics. It's also available in Spine number 900, the big Olympics box set, but Criterion did release it as a standalone Blu-ray a couple years ago. Francois Truffaut's Day for Night. This is one of the big titles of 1973, so I'll definitely be doing a podcast about that when the time comes. Here's another one I know is kind of a fan favorite, Fantastic Planet. I actually saw this film as a kid when it first came out in a drive-in theater, double feature with James Bond and The Man with the Golden Gun. I have a very vivid impression of that night out and my first encounter with Fantastic Planet, an amazing French animated film. This one was on the Criterion channel, Alejandro Jodorowsky's The Holy Mountain, midnight movie madness. The Friends of Eddie Coyle, great crime thriller there. From the first Martin Scorsese's World Cinema Project, Volume 1, A River Called Titus. We're going to be talking about Bruce Lee. Enter the Dragon came out in 1973, and there's another film called Bruce Lee, The Man and the Legend, that came out in October of 1973 after Bruce Lee passed away. It was one of the first documentaries to capture his life and legend on film in a kind of a comprehensive and tragic situation where he passed away much too soon. Tuki Buki, also from that World Cinema Volume 1 box set, but this is the standalone Blu-ray edition there. Came out in 1973. F for Fake, another great Orson Welles, one of his later works. Really splendid, amazing, sort of documentary essay film. All right, a couple from Les Blank's Always for Pleasure on Hot Pepper and Dry Wood, two of the kind of great funky Americana films that he made in the early 1970s. Another big one, Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets, that was just released not too long ago on 4K by the Criterion Collection. A very nice entry here. This is one that's badly in need of a Blu-ray upgrade. The Spirit of the Beehive. Victor Erice's really beautiful, hypnotic film about showing Frankenstein to a kind of a rustic Spanish village during the war years. Recently reissued on 4K, Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland in Don't Look Now. Another big title that I'm sure will generate some fascinating conversation, as will Terrence Malick's debut, Badlands. We'll be talking about that probably a few months or more down the road. And who cannot get enough of Rainer Werner Fassbinder, World on a Wire, kind of a made-for-TV science fiction epic from the great German master. And enfant terrible, as they say. Flesh for Frankenstein. This is one of those old out-of-print original Criterion DVDs. We'll be getting into that. The original Lady Snowblood from 1973. We'll talk about that. A film by King Hu, The Fate of Lee Khan. This was on the Criterion channel. It's no longer showing there now, but I do have this Blu-ray, so I definitely want to show that. And we have Amarcord. This will be towards the end of the year. Federico Fellini's masterpiece, a very important film in his career. A few others that I forgot to mention in the order of service, but it's because the packaging kind of presents an obstacle. Godzilla versus Megalon. I'll be talking about that one. And also the final film in the Zatoichi series, Zatoichi's Conspiracy, number 25 in that long-running set. So that's what I've got in store for you on this channel here, and where else you might see it. I'll try to keep these posts brief and effective and to the point and fun. So that's what I've got in store for you for season 5 of Criterion Reflections. Thanks for checking in.